Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win. We have some special returning guests with Bill and Susan. They're going to tell us a little bit more about the Disney cruise ship experience they had. But before we get to that, please be sure to share, subscribe, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform. I want to give a shout out to Nick Bernard and Associates with Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episode. Happy Wanderlust Wednesday, everyone.
Hello, everyone. All right, so thank you for kicking it off. We'll appreciate it. So yes, like Will mentioned, we have our returning guest and partner in a travel agency like Susan and Bill Egan, who are back with us. Why? Because they love to travel. They love to go on a lot of cruises and experience things, so they can explain better to their clients, the experience. So thank you for that. Also, Bill and Susan, they own Babcock Mortgage here in Babcock Ranch in Southwest Florida. So if you ever need anything refinance, finance, or anything like that linked to mortgages, please don't hesitate to contact Bill and Susan. They will be more than happy to take care of you as well. So thank you so much for joining us again today.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate
for your
it.
time.
Absolutely. So, Bill and Suzanne just came back a few weeks ago now. I think that they have another one scheduled next week, but they just came back from a cruise with Disney, and we never had a chance to talk Disney cruise yet on our podcast. So they went more specifically to the Disney Dream, right?
The Dream, yes.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about the ship, what they felt about it, and what they liked very much, what was maybe some challenges, because we are honest on Two for the Win. So we want to give a clear picture of what the experience was all about. But maybe the first question, what can you tell us about the experience on a Disney cruise, more specifically Disney Dream?
Well, actually, I will say that my overall impression was initially cemented for me when you first get on the ship. One of the great things that the Disney does that I've not experienced on any other ship is when you get on, you first get into the atrium, they have hosts there that are greeting you, and then they ask you your family name, and then they announce it over the PA system, and everybody claps and cheers for you as you come on the boat, and the characters are there, and it was just really an amazing time. And the second thing I would say is probably everywhere I went, they're always playing Disney music, the musicians, things like that. They're playing different, Disney songs and whatnot. And I just found myself like whistling or singing Disney tunes throughout the time without even realizing I was doing it. We're waiting for elevators or, for our food or whatnot. It was really just an incredible time for me.
Did you wake up in the middle of the night singing "It's a Small World"? Or
Yeah, no, but I did a couple of times sitting at the elevators because they would just play it around those types of areas. It was really awesome. Even like Jungle Book. The Jungle Book was one of my favorite Disney movies, and so just to feel like a kid at all times with Disney because of the amazing job they do was really just an incredible feeling.
Wow, and I also know. I mean, you guys tell me, but I also know that there's a lot of characters walking around on the ship, so that's good for children. I will have a lot of questions about that as well. But for the audience, where did you leave from? So which terminal did you use?
Disney, that was Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, we were Fort Lauderdale, so it was nice because that's the shortest drive for us being in Babcock, to get right over there. And it was very easy to get on the ship, off the ship. The process was really smooth. The cast members were fantastic with their, keeping you engaged and, and just making the time feel like it was, not like just wasting it.
And a pro tip, show up when your time slot is, because they don't let you can't get there earlier. So we knew.
Well, you can, but they have queues outside in the covered parking garage area, and then you just stand in your queue for your time. And when your time comes, then they bring you over to bring you in. So
you could be outside for a couple hours if you get there early.
Yeah.
Unlike
that's a great tip. That's a great tip. And it's the case for some cruise lines. Some are just, they don't really look at it, but some are very strict about this. So that's a very good tip for Disney. it's better to make sure that when you schedule your time, make sure that the time is actually the time that you're going to be there. Otherwise, you will have to wait in line, and nobody wants to do that. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to rush inside and enjoy vacation. So
I
it's
thought
good to
maybe they were
start on
trying
a
to get the
positive note.
Disney park experience where you got to just stay in line.
Yeah. They got to get that.
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody likes that. You need a fast pass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys went by, the two of you, or you had the children with you?
Oh yeah, we brought our girls with us. They're 8 and 5, and it was an amazing experience for them as well. We've been on several cruises with them, and they really loved the Norwegian Joy. They weren't as much of a fan as for the kids club on Royal Caribbean because there were so many kids and not as many counselors to kid ratio. So they like a little more personal attention in that way. So, they had that on the Joy. On Disney, they were begging, can we go to the kids club? Can we go to the kids club? It was just, they loved going there. They had so many different activities. They have the Millennium Falcon, and we're good. So yeah, so the kids club, like they had like the Millennium Falcon, they had a Spider-Man room, they had a fairy room, they had all these, the Toy Story room, they had these interactive floor area where the kids, they'd project different things on it, and they could like touch it and interact with it, and they would have the character dances. Like, did any one of the characters, Mickey, Goofy, Donald, anybody would just show up randomly in the kids club, and the kids would do dance parties, and they just loved it all throughout the
Wow.
ship as well.
Fantastic. So there is a kids club, if I understand correctly, but I know there are also a lot of part on the ship that you can go with, as parents with your children and enjoy different area. Can you touch base a little bit on that for people with families who wants to? Because it happens to me quite often, actually, when I have clients calling and said, I want to go with my children, but it's important for me to experience things together and not just leave my children for the day and pick them up at the end of the day. So can you tell us what can you all do together as family on the ship?
Yeah, and in fact, I initially thought that we were going to be leaving them a lot in the kids club, but then when we got there and we saw all the things to do with them, we didn't really want to leave them, and it was kind of weird. I was like, well, I kind of want to hang out with them. The things that that this cruise ship did was besides the activity. So you could meet the characters. You get to do that you have to register and stand in line, meet the characters. You do that with your family.
Yeah, certain times. Sometimes they would just have pop-up sessions where like the character would come and you could just get in line and do that. But sometimes you didn't have to register.
Yeah. And then the pirate night, they would put on an event. So you'd go and you'd dance. And it was so cool. It was like on the top of the ship at night, and the kids are all dancing. And it was, we were singing the pirate song. And then afterwards they did fireworks off the ship. I've never seen fireworks off a ship in the middle of the ocean. It's kind of cool.
That is cool.
So even if it's something a kid would like, I mean, it was just amazing to experience that. And so, I mean, it's also a place where you never feel like your kids are, bothering anybody. Not that they are on boats that are kid friendly, but like sometimes as parents, we feel that way, but like I'm on a Disney's cruise. It's for them, and so it was great. Now, don't get me wrong. There's lots of adults that go on the cruise too. They have a huge adults area as well. And ironically, we didn't frequent it as much as we thought we would because we were spending so much time with them. The shows, those are amazing, Disney production level.
Okay, tell us more about the shows. Yeah, that's a good segue.
Yeah. So, what was the show that we saw?
So we saw two. We saw basically it was one show where this professor was trying to learn, like his daughter had this great imagination, and they kind of crossed a bunch of different Disney themes together. So it was like Mary Poppins, where the guys would come out of the chimney sweeps. The other like lead character was the genie from Aladdin, and so this guy had 3 wishes, and he's a botanist, and it was just a really great story with music involved and theater, and our girls were just engrossed for the whole hour. They just never stopped looking at the stage. It was amazing. And then the other one was Beauty and the Beast as well. It was incredible, the production that they did. Things coming up from the floor, disappearing, the woods, like how they were able to do it. It was just wonderful, wonderful production quality.
And they had other things too, like family karaoke, where the kids get up and sing. And they were really good about it. They made sure all the kids got a chance. And, it just seemed like they catered to them. They have the most amazing straws. I think I got addicted to eating straws.
Oh yeah, edible straws. They were
Really?
incredible. And they're actually not terrible ingredients. Like we're
Yeah.
kind of careful with the stuff that we eat and we let our kids eat. And we looked them up and they're actually not bad. I mean, it was very surprising. So, I remember the first time the girls tried one, they took a sip and they were like, I was like, take a bite. And they're like, what? I'm like, the straw. And they're like, what? And then everywhere they're like, give me that straw. I'm like, no, that's not an edible one, dude. You can eat it, but you're not going to taste good as the other one.
Wow. Well, my birthday is November 3rd, so I welcome any flavored straw.
It's strawberry, lime, and
Ooh,
one other flavor as well.
strawberry. That's
But
my
it was
flavor.
good.
Awesome. Awesome. So you mentioned about the adults piece because surprisingly, I know that Disney, even though people think children, I know that surprisingly, adults going on the ship and maybe with no children, they actually feels that there's a lot more to do, or that's not so invading of children around them everywhere like it is on for example, Carnival or Royal Caribbean cruise, where it's very hard to separate. But on Disney, I heard multi times clients saying like, actually, I like Disney because we can go on our way in different part of the ship, and we don't have a feeling we are on a family only kind of ship. So did you experience, I know that you spend a lot of time with your children, which is great, but can you see where that come from, or did you experience something like this on the ship compared to Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, and other cruise line you guys experienced?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that although there were maybe a little more kid-friendly areas on Disney, there was a whole section that was just adults and multiple kinds of bars or, areas or event areas they could have. And,
It,
they had a brew house, and we actually even missed, there was one area that we missed until like
the
the last night.
biggest room we missed. We didn't even, because it was like on the side of the ship. It's almost kind of like that ship within a ship concept for the
Oh,
adults. And so you were there, and I didn't realize there was another room, and that room was like the biggest room. Apparently, everybody's been hanging out in there. So,
well,
so
you
we
need to go
missed it.
back.
But
You need to
yeah.
someone have to pull your arms to go back.
Now I have heard that people saying that the Dream, like it is a little bit of an older boat, and from what I understand, more friendly for adults than maybe some of the newer ones, or maybe put in a certain way. So we definitely thought it had enough stuff for adults, and especially on a short cruise. So it was really nice. And the other part of it is that it had like the adults area was never packed. So if you wanted to go in the pool or whatever, you could, because
Yeah.
there was nobody in it. So it was kind of nice.
Yeah, it wasn't like
Wow.
super crowded like the main pool deck is,
Mhm.
because like on the main pool deck as well, all throughout the day, they're playing Disney movies, movie after movie after movie, and they have a huge screen right there. So it's kind of interesting because we've been on so many cruises, and that main Lido deck there where the pool is usually so much activity and people in, but generally like in the pool, it's like the kids are there with their parents in the pool and everyone's sitting watching the movies or standing in the pool, and no one's like playing in them, doing stuff that you would normally see, because the movies are on, and, they just get soaked into it. The girls wind up watching Mulan for the first time and love it now. I've tried to get them to watch that movie several times, but
Um,
What is a good
and
movie? Yeah. It's good.
as far as their food and stuff, so I'm gluten free, and they were so attentive
Hmm,
regarding that.
that's interesting.
They took my order every night, like the night ahead. And they clarified that it was going to be a specific chef, and my food was not going to touch other food. And I'm like, well,
yeah,
it's okay,
completely
but
cooked and prepared in different area from where all the other food is. They were very careful with that. And, even at dinner time, we had the head manager of the restaurant came over and, makes his rounds of tables and took one of the napkins and made this little animal that was just like a roll up little animal. And he had this little sound thing on it. It was like a ring, and he like squirted it out, pushed it out of his hand, and it shot out of his hand because the girls like put a little magic dust, and when the girls touched it, he made it shoot and made a sound, and they were just like, "Oh my god, that was amazing!" And he did it a bunch of times for him, and they were just giggling and laughing so much. It was
So even at dinner, like they'll interact with them, and then they'll have their cool Mickey waffles and Mickey shaped ice cream. So it's just like every time you turn around, it's something for to Disney to make you smile
Was
and
one ear chocolate and one ear strawberry and the
it should have been.
no, all vanilla, but yeah, it should have been.
No, good to know, because we have a lot of people who like to go on cruises, but they are lactose intolerant or gluten free or whatever, and that's good. That's majority of cruise line. They said they do things differently, but it's good to hear that Disney are really doing those things like very well, and their attention to that. So that's great. What about the quality? Wait, go ahead.
Sorry, even on the private island that they have a separate area.
We're gonna get to that
because she's gluten free that they cook it in, and so most everyone's not gluten free. So there's long lines, for food, waiting for the food. But she didn't have that problem. She was able to just walk right up and get her food.
And the thing about the private island is that, I mean, it's just a Disney island. Like, living in Florida, we've seen Disney a million times, right? We've gone so much that a Disney cruise really elevates that experience. Like, how can you experience Disney again? Well, you can experience Disney again by going on a Disney cruise.
Yeah.
It was like all those feelings in a different way. And then you get to the island and now another way. Now I'm seeing an island that's literally Disney music, and they're marching and parades, and it's just it was just a very up vibe,
That's
so
awesome.
that was yeah.
I before I turn to the island, because I'm very interested to know which island you went to and then more about the island. But go back to the food. So so I know that's great that they are able to accommodate. But what about the quality of the food compared to other cruise line that you don't need to name them, but the quality of the food itself, like the choice you have and the quality.
Yeah, I'd say that it would kind of match more of like a premium cruise line. I wouldn't say luxury, but I would say definitely, better than the average cruise line food.
Awesome.
And I thought it was great.
Cool. And you have like one dining place, and then you have like probably like a buffet as well. You have also specialty dining that you can go to, or it's different there.
Yeah, there was some specialty dining on there as well, but the main dining rooms were really nice. So they had several main dining rooms, and what you would do is you would rotate, and the waiters and waitresses would rotate with you through, so that you had the same wait staff through all the restaurants. They knew your preferences, what you like, or with gluten free, it was never a question. They just knew right away, and it was just really seamless. And food service and everything.
And they moved you around from like room to room. So, 2 nights you might be in one restaurant, and then they'll move you to another.
Yeah. So our third night there was the room. It had like a was it like a France theme or something? It had like a pergola on the top, and it had looked like it was vines over there. It was lit up, and you look like you're out kind of outside, and it had the wrought iron, and it was just really beautiful. And our girls actually just coincidentally wore their green dresses to dinner that night, and they matched perfectly with the decor of the restaurant. We showed up at the wrong restaurant too, because we didn't even know we were supposed to be at that restaurant. And they're like, no, you're down at that restaurant tonight.
Pure like.
But I thought the way they did dining was good. They seemed to really have it down. They got the kids' foods out. They knew how to keep them happy. It wasn't, I always worry that it's going to be too long of a dining experience for them, but it really wasn't that bad at all. So we really enjoyed that. And then on the last day, just as another tip here, the last day of any Disney cruise is when they do the churros Disney waffles for those that are fans of those and wanting to know when that's happening. That's the last day.
Yeah.
We'll go for the last day only.
Yeah, that's right.
The
other question I had was, did they serve the honeycomb drinks that we liked so much?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that drink. What's a honeycomb?
Oh
my God, you need to try.
With us when we're on
okay.
Celebrity.
It's okay. So honeycomb is like a cocktail that we have on some different cruise line, and they are pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. We had them different places, but I know Celebrity had them as well. And then we were in a specialty dining place, and they didn't have it, but they went literally to the bar to pick up those honeycomb for us and brought us to the table because we really wanted those honeycomb. So that's the service. I think that's the same kind of level of service as Celebrity. A question I have is about your rooms. So I know that the rooms are themed as well, but any kind of specific experience you have based on the room you picked and the experience within the room?
Yeah. So we've been sailing in nicer rooms, right? So we've been staying in bigger rooms, nicer cabins, and um we weren't sure because we booked just a balcony, and we were upgraded, um and they call it a veranda. And the nice thing about it, and this is very special and unique to Disney, I believe, is that a lot of their rooms have 5 people. So you can actually get a room for 5 rather than having to get 2 rooms. Um, and it's a bunk bed style as well as the normal bed. And in fact, one night my daughter, she insisted on sleeping in the bed with us and not in the bunk bed. So I was on the top bunk, and I'm like, I'll take one for the team. And let me tell you, that was like so comfortable.
All right, Bill, you know what's coming. You need bunk bed at the house, and she's gonna go up top.
Well, we have multiple
I might
options
have
for us
to.
because the kids, you never know what they're going to do. And sometimes, Sophia is like sleeps WWE style. Like she will turn and twist and move and like turn sideways. And I'm like, it's so hard sleeping with her some nights. So it's like challenging when they decide they want to sleep in the bed with us.
Yeah.
But I love the five people room though, because we hear all the time, majority of cruise line is 4, up to 4, unless you have like special family suite or 2-bedroom suite, but the pricing is very different. Or you need to be lucky to reserve way in advance to have connecting rooms. So I love that's a very good point for families. Again, they know Disney, a lot of families are going, and
Right.
if you have like 3 children, we don't have to split a room or pay for a a lot of more
And it
expensive.
was like a
kind of
Murphy
room.
bed. Like the 5th one was a Murphy bed you could pull
couch
down.
that turns into a bed, and then there's something that folds down from the ceiling, and then the Murphy bed goes float right down next to it. And then the great part too is there's a curtain between the bed and all the other sleeping areas. So if the kids go to bed early, you can still stay up and have time with your wife or whatever, read, and you don't have to like have the whole room lit up with light.
But wait, there's more.
All right.
The bathrooms, there's 2 bathrooms, right?
Oh yeah,
It's
split
one,
bathroom.
there's split bathrooms. You have one toilet, but you have a toilet and a sink, and then you have another room right next to that.
Sink
That's a
and
sink and shower.
shower bathtub combo.
So it's easier to get ready, and because they are small, of course, right? Because we're in a cabin, so sometimes it's nice to just be able to be in a different room.
That's interesting. Yeah, no, definitely. That's a very
And-
good point.
And I think that in order to get that, I think the room must be labeled family, so that you get that split bathroom.
And on the walls and stuff, there's also a lot of drawing, Disney drawing or stuff like that. I saw a lot online, and I think it was the newer ship, the Fantasia and Wish and things like that. That they have like themed room. They have the Star Wars room. They have the princess room. It was the same on the Dream or not?
Yeah, we had we had a. I can't remember what it was, to be honest with you, in the background, but it was a Disney picture. Yeah, everything was themed, and every time you turn around, something is on there Disney wise, or to welcome you. It was just really cool. And didn't they make towel animals?
The towel
Disney
animals every night, with chocolates on it every night, and the girls love that, of course. Once they realized it was chocolate, they were like, chocolate!
I think it's all about details, and it seems like Disney are nailing that part about all details that the children actually will remember. So, and those details doesn't cost a lot of money. Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that, again, we've been on a lot of newer ships, and this one was an older ship, and I really wasn't sure what to expect in terms of was it going to be extra, like, more movement? Was the inside going to be not as appealing, old, rundown? But I really didn't find it that way. It was just really classy the way they had decorated, and they kept it up really well.
Refurbished.
So while I could tell it wasn't a brand new ship, I never felt that anything was subpar.
Yeah. The one thing I will say that, and not even a negative, but it's different from other cruise lines, is your muster. So the first day you must go to your muster station on the boat, like you all have to stand there and wait in line, and then they have to do their thing where they put the life preserver on, and they walk you through exactly how to do it. It's like, they do not like, you do not like on the other ones, like, oh, just go to your room, watch the video, and you come to your station, you're good. No, you have to spend a few minutes doing
family
that. It's
more,
not
so they
long,
want,
but it's just different from some of the other cruise lines, what they currently do.
Well, that's good to know, because no, you're right. It's all about, or in your stateroom or on the application, you just say, I saw it, and then you just have to go, they say your name, and then they check you. All right, that's good. Now, the final question I have is really about the island, because I know they have 2 different islands now. So which island did you go to?
Castaway Cay.
Okay. Castaway Cay. And you mentioned already that they have, everything is themed. You have parade, you have food quality the same, but anything else that you really liked about the island compared to others? I know you've been to a lot of them.
I think it's just mainly that the whole island is for kids, right? Again, so you're bringing your kids there. You have the beach, and then you have shopping that's right there. You have
It was a huge 2-story water park, water slides, splash pad things. So if you didn't want to go down to the beach, you could just stay there. They thought of everything. I mean, the chairs are just there for you to use. I mean, umbrellas that, you don't have to pay for them. You don't have to reserve them. They just have them there for everybody, and they have a lot of them. So, they just kind of think of all that stuff, and, don't like try to nickel and dime you like some cruise lines try to do with, some of the add-ons you have to get.
That sounds good. It's decked, or so you just go on the deck and then you can go out.
So there are some cemented areas, and then there's some wooden decking, that like going over the sand, like towards the beach, and interconnecting different areas, because they have different, they have like a shower area, and they have multiple little areas where the shops are, or the food, things like that. So,
all right, that's good. It's not tender. That's what I mean. It's not that you need to take a ship to go, a boat to go on the island, so you can go straight.
They dock right on there, and then you get down to the main little terminal area, and then they have a shuttle. They bring you over to the beach area on the other side.
And it was a beautiful beach.
Yeah.
Very clear.
And pink sand too. It's the first time I've experienced
pink sand.
Yeah, pink sand in the Caribbean. Usually I've heard pink sand being in Bermuda. That's one place I've never been, but I literally was like, I was shocked. It was like pink sand. Nice. Yeah, if it was fine. It was really soft. It was beautiful.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And Will, I don't want to steal your thunder with your close line close question. I love that question.
Oh, was there any question we didn't ask about your Disney experience that we should have, that you wanted to tell our listeners about?
Yes. I am dying to tell you about the hand washing station.
Oh,
what?
Yes. I want one of these in my house. That's how amazing it was.
Oh my God. Tell me more.
As kind of a germaphobe, not too much, right? Because I go on cruises. So anyway, the kids club, when the kids enter, I should say, they have to extend their hands out, and it puts it into this machine. And
tubes,
tubes, and it spins around.
Soap and water, all the way from the top of your hand to your bottom of your hand, all the way, and you keep it in there for like 13 seconds, and then it's done. It finishes, and they take it out, and they dry their hands, and they run off. And same thing when they're done with the kids club, they wash in and out, and it's just the coolest thing. We got to experience it because we got to do on the open house, because they would do some nights where it was family night instead of kids. You could go in there as families, and we went and made space goo with one of their scientists, and that was such a fun time. And we did exploding volcanoes at another family son, in there as well. So the kids club is also for families, in addition to just having kids time as well. So it was just,
they open it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved that sanitizing thing, and you go on there. There's so many kids, so many germs. Our kids came home just fine. So, I mean, you have that risk no matter what. But I thought that the extra step of the hygiene was really awesome. And they think it's fun.
And then the baby dash. That was, kids wanted to go to the baby dash. We were walking through the main open area. It's like 3 stories. And from Incredibles, the little baby. So they have this race with babies who can only crawl, and they have like parents on either side, and there's like 6 lanes, and they're trying to get. So then they have heats. They have several heats, and they have like 6 different heats with 6 kids, and then they had a final like race, and then the winner. And I was like, oh, we're not going to enjoy that. Every floor had people pack everywhere. It was like the
I would
most
love
fun
to see
thing.
that.
And we ended up staying. The kids didn't even want to go to the kids club. They wanted to watch that the whole time. And it was just
It sounds like
really
Nick
crazy.
when he's been drinking too much. He does the same thing. It kind of crawls.
And it's so funny because some of these kids are like scooting on their butt. Some of them are going backwards. You're like screaming at them, come over here! Like everybody.
There are 3 floors of like hundreds of people yelling and screaming at them. They're like, what are all these people doing?
This is
it was so
hilarious.
much fun. Everything was just so much fun. That was it was a great time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so very much. I think it was a great summary of your experience there, and I know we will have you back a lot because you have some great cruises coming up. I know that, so more to come. But I love to have a summary of an experience for people to listen to and to have a little feel and idea about what to experience. So thank you for spending 30 minutes with us again today. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for doing that for everybody too, because that is helpful. I know that's how we always research cruises, is looking for videos and information on them and people's experiences to see how it was. So thank you so much for doing this as well.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So there you have it, folks. I mean, Disney cruises, not just for kids. It sounds like a ton of fun for adults as well. So thanks, Bill and Susan. Really appreciate you sharing your experience. Winners, that'll do it for today. Please be sure to subscribe, share, and follow 2 for the Win on your favorite platform. And thanks to Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episode. That'll do it for this Wanderlust Wednesday. We'll see you next week, winners. Take care.
Thank you, winners.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.